Hello everybody and a very warm welcome back to DRC Digital Racing Championship, and it is myself, Zabi, and I'll be on the commentary mic for one more time as we are live for round 5 here at the Australian Grand Prix after a chaotic, rather so much filled with chaos racing and many incidents at the Chinese Grand Prix. We are back and it is round 5 here at the Australian GP as a lot of driving standards questions were raised after the previous round, so hopefully action would have been taken, or at least drivers would be a lot more careful than they were last weekend. So just before we get started, we do have a couple of drivers already out on track. Let's have a look at the drivers' standings as we're going to have a look at the standings at the moment, which is Chandra is leading up ahead of everyone, but that is Sir Jagu in the game. Leads the championship, but equal. He's on exactly the same points as Justin, who did not attend the previous race, and as it looks like he might not be attending this week as well. So missing out on 2 consecutive races might just mean that he's going to have to pay for that maybe in the later on in the season, and these points could be very crucial, especially if it comes down to the final few rounds of the championship. And then in third place, it's Matthew Branduit, Prototype, with 8 points just behind these guys. RD Gamer with 44 points. In P4, he's only attended a couple of rounds. Remember, he did not attend the first 2 rounds in Bahrain and at the USGP. So in those 2 rounds, he's caught up to, with being only 6 points away from Prototype, who's attended all 4 rounds in this championship. Then Dylan in P5 at 39 points, 5 behind RD Gamer. Then Ben in 6th place, only 2 behind his teammate Caspar. Caspar in P7 with 25 points to his name. Raid with 21 points to his name, only attending the previous round, which was, he finished in P2. Remember, last week was a sprint weekend, so some extra points were gained by the drivers as well. Then comes Maisco with 18 points, and equally with George, who's on 18 as well. Then again, then Alexandro, along with Timur, both on 12 points as well in P11 and 12. P11 points for Ian, who's in 13th place. 10, just 1 point behind, is Baz, with Abhinav Kumar with 9. Then it is Harry, Zuki, Mackenzie, along with Graysand with 6, 4, 2 points to their name. In the Drivers' Championship then comes down to the Constructors' title. It is Red Bull who leads, only 2 points ahead of the Haas team, with 74 points to Haas and 76 to the Red Bull team. So 2 points separating the 2 teams. Then Mercedes over 6 points behind Haas and almost 8 points behind Red Bull. Sauber with 59 points, with only 1 point more than what Matthew has scored. 55 for Ferrari, definitely RD Gamer coming in, has brilliantly done a good job. Then McLaren with 51, Aston Martin 45, Racing Bulls with 12 points. Alpine and Williams in 9th and 10th place still are yet to score any points at all, as we already have drivers out on track coming over the line. Masquerader went fastest so far, 116.3. Apologies about that, but we're just looking at things and looking at the action from all these drivers. We're going to try and go back on all those who are going to go over the line. What about Matthew? He's going to go over the line, Prototype, and into P3. Yes, so we've got 4 drivers with the time on board. It was Valdo, 117.4 from him, 117.0 from Prototype. Juno, 116.967 with Masquerade 16.343. I remember he took pole in one of the races. Don't remember exactly where it was, but he took pole position. Meanwhile, Hart over the line will go P4 and ahead of Joel and Waldo. Meanwhile, there's a Williams driver over the finish line at the back, and who is it going to be? It was going to be David, who's P7 and slowest of them all so far. There was a RB as well, but that was Batman. He is going to try and drive better than surely he did last weekend, as Maisco is going to go P18 a little bit closer to the drivers at the front, but maybe not too close as we are into it at the start, as well as we hope everything's going to be all okay, and the screen you're going to be watching is going to be running nice and smooth in front of all your screens. as we're in 9 drivers now with the time on board. It's Mercedes, and that's going to be Overi. He's going to go over the line. He'll go top of the timing charts, 1:15.720. That's going to be the fastest of them all. What about Jagu Radazuki? It's going to be the next car over the line. How fast is he going to be? P9 for him. Meanwhile, one of the Sauber drivers, that's going to be Prototype. He's not going to be over the line in a competitive lap, rather in a cool-down lap. Or that's not going to be an in lap though, so that would have just been a cooldown lap. At the line now. What about Hart? He's went in as well, so cooldown lap for him, and now he'll be going in for another competitive lap out of the top. Charge Mike is out there as well. What about Prototype? He's far away and he's invalidated. He has invalidated, improving over 2:10s on his previous time in the first sector, but he's invalidated, and that means you will not be getting any better at all. Maisco on a Jagu, our current championship leader, equal on points with Justin. Most of the time, them all, yes he does. 1:15.630 is a mega lap from him there. What about Weldo? Is he in that McLaren? Yes he is, but not flat lap. Hart at the moment going 2:10s quicker than his previous time. That would see him enough for at least that should actually see him enough for P6. But will that be the case? Because Pro 17.071. So Hart needs to find at least about 2:10s to get any better. If he does any less, he won't be or getting any. You will be the next car, and the only car closer to that finish line. And over the top of the timing charts is Jagu at the moment, and Hart does not improve, or in fact find an improvement, but only by a 10th, or in fact less than a 10th out there, and that has completely meant that was a bit of an. He did find an improvement, and as I said, he needs to find 2:10s at a minimum to get any better and better in terms of positions. He does find the time though, but he doesn't find the all-important position. The Batman is on an invalidate lap. Anybody going to be at the top? A lot of drivers now heading in towards the pit lane. Maisco has validated his lap. What about RD over this line? He's got in, having got a time on board, and he does go third fastest on to the second row of the grid. 1:16.266 from him. Only one driver in the 1:16.2s. Let's have a look at between these drivers, and look at that, only 90 milliseconds, 9 second between the top two, and that is interesting to see. It's all from P1 to P6, all within 1 second of each other, which is pretty close battles from one another between these drivers, so that's going to be interesting to see. I think he's going to be coming into the pits. What about one of the drivers? There's Joel Flats. He's going to be starting his flying lap about right now, so that means he is not going to be anywhere near with the times, at least so far. And one of the Red Bulls, and the only Red Bull Juno in the session, is just starting at second lap. He's on 1:16.96717. He needs at least 4:10s. It should, at a minimum, to improve and to get better than his current times. And obviously, he'll get better than his current times, but definitely one thing that he'll need to do better would be the position. He'll need a position, and now James at the moment is in P6. As Prototype has lost positions. Meanwhile, he's on an out lap. He'll be looking forward to starting a lap very soon, and he invalidated his previous lap. He invalidated the one that he did after a cooldown lap, flying lap, a cooldown lap, and then a flying lap. Had he completed that lap, that might have just been very competitive, because that was brilliant. That was at least 2/10 up on his previous time, which would have, at the moment, wouldn't see him improve much, but previously you could have seen him improve a couple of positions maybe. So at the moment, driving a flying lap, it is going to be Joel with a current time of 1:17, of 1 second to go up to P6 and over the finish line. How good is this one going to be? Doesn't improve. In fact, does improves almost about 5/10 to P9. So well done to him out there. And a couple of leggings on here. Well, thanks to EA, as Zuki in P12 and then 1:18.0 from him, which is his current time. So I wonder if he's found any time, or was it simply him going on a lap? He will be going faster about now. So looking at things as where the flag, then a bit of caution, but 7 minutes now remaining, so 7.5 minutes, almost 8 minutes now remain in this qualifying session. We're nearly halfway through our qualifying time. As Prototype's coming into the pit lane, that means he was not improving, and he would have decided to come into the pit lane. Meanwhile, James finds the time, and he finds the time good enough for P3. Brilliant that from him out there as he pushes Raid, RD, along with Mars Crater, all of these guys down. Brilliantly done. James finds the time, and Raid finds the time as well. We didn't quite had a look at that, so brilliantly done from him. The McLaren is in P4 as P5 is now all the top 5, all within good timings of each other, and within half a second from P1 to P4. Brilliantly done. 6/10 also P5 not far away as well. Within 1 second is P7 now. All of these drivers closer and easy between each other as Zuki has found a time, so that means his previous lap was an out lap or an cool down lap. Meanwhile, Hart is going to try and find an improvement. On the previous lap, he found 91 hundredths or 9 hundredths of a second. There is a driver at the back starting a flying lap, and that's going to be Batman, who's invalidated his out lap, which obviously drivers do it deliberately. It's not an invalidation, simply to get to the finish, to get to the starting line or the finish line earlier, so they could get a better time. As Maisco is going to start their flying lap. We're looking at the McLaren drivers. Waldo has invalidated his lap. Raiders at the moment is just starting their lap, as RD, currently in P5 at the moment, is on a flying lap as well. The two McLaren teammates, both one on an out lap, the other has invalidated his lap, so both of them are not going to be on a competitive lap at the moment. Who is on a competitive lap, and towards the end of the finish line is going to be Harry, who's currently in P2, and he heads into the pit straight away with about 5.5 minutes, rather almost 6 minutes remaining in the session. He's going to try and get better. He's going to try and come in, get a new set of tires, and go out again. As we have a couple of drivers now getting towards the finish line and closer to the finish line. That is going to be Hart, and over the line. Does he find an improvement? And yes, he does find a decent improvement, but only up to P8. Those 5/10, 6/10s are not enough at the moment with how close the battles are between these drivers. Prototype is going to be beginning their flying lap as well. What about RD? He's currently in P5, sorry. And he's going to be coming into the pit lane. That means that he was not improving as well, and that would have had him coming into the pit lane. Batman, the only driver in the session out of the 16, having got a time on board, and he heads towards the pit lane. Maisco, a couple of seconds down on his previous lap, still has decided to continue, so maybe he thinks that, all right, there's not enough time about now, so I'm going to slow down. Or in fact, his previous lap would have been an out lap, you could say, because he's just now using that ERS, just now using that battery, and that means he's continued on to go on to another lap. As Walde has came into the pits. Are we going to find any other driver improvement? Any other driver out on a flying lap at the moment? Not about now, as Raiders is going to be on it. And as it looks like he might be on a cool down lap, because he's found an improvement. He's got a better time, the 1:16.164, but that's not enough at the moment to get any closer to the pole position, or to James, who's about a 10th ahead of Raiders. And James found a brilliant time out there, but look at that, Prototype is going to be coming over. Oh no, he's going to come into the pit lane again. I wonder how many set of tires he's used at this point, because now the one that he's going to be fitting in might just be the last and the final one, as he's invalidated his lap this time around. And interesting to see, because it looks like he's struggling very much to find a time on board, and all those currently out on track. And if they are not going to find an improvement, they're not going to find a faster time. They all will come in to the pit lane about now, because this is the perfect chance to play. This is the last chance for all those out on track to come into the pit lane, fit a set of tires, fit a set of brand new tires, and go back out on track to do a lap, which is going to see them do better. And it is interesting to see as couple of drivers are not happy with one or the other, which unfortunately was the case last week as well. So I'm hoping the race standards are going to be a lot better than what it was last weekend. But still, you never know with everyone out on track. And look at that. So Joel on an invalidated lap. So drivers are invalidating a lot, and definitely not sure whether you want to, you know, get about other things, and eventually, you know, we whatever you could predict, one thing is going to be for sure, and I think that's going to be that drivers would be getting a lot of track limit penalties, because a lot of invalidations means not easy to get a lap together, not easy to get a lap together within those white lines. And if that stays the same in the race, a lot of drivers would struggle to get out on track, keep it within the white lines. We know the Williams of Reaper and David are out on track. David finding a little bit of time. Reaper needs to find a bit of time as well, along with Batman, who's on an invalidated lap, so he will not be getting much. Reaper over the finish line doesn't find an improvement at all. Meanwhile, all the drivers are out on a flying lap, or rather on an out lap at the moment. Hart is on an out lap as well. Joel is on a flying lap. He's already done a lap on these soft compound tires, so he's rather going about now. He's found a 10th. He is found a 10th. That's not going to be enough to see him anywhere near P8. He's just going to get near P8, but definitely not into a new position. What about RD? He's begun his flying lap as well. Now there's going to be so many drivers who are going to be coming over the line, who are going to be improving, and there is a crash, and RD has went into the back of a Williams there, and he's got a grid penalty as well. So I wonder if we're going to get a lobby restart here before the race, because this is absolutely crazy. As one of the drivers in that Williams, I wonder if it was Reaper or David who was straight back-ended, rear-ended by RD. Did not get out of the way. He was on a flying lap as well, I believe himself. And RD goes absolutely back of him. And the chaos we were talking about has already started. What about Welday over the line? He'll be going on another lap along with his teammate, who will be just starting his flying lap as well, I believe. Yes, he will be. As anybody else over the line, Maisco will be starting their lap as well, and every one of them now goes over the line, will be their final and last chance to begin a flying lap at the moment. What about Harry, who is already on a flying lap? He needs a couple of tenths to go pole position. Yes, he does take pole position by only 9,000 of a second. Harry goes fastest of them all so far, takes pole at the moment. Hart goes P8, just moves up a position at the moment. James is a few corners behind the finish line. What about Prototype? He is closer to that finish line, coming around the final corner now, and over the finish line. How good is this one going to be? That's about P7. Just not enough to get to the top 5 of the session so far, and Aldo's now coming over the line, will be taking that checkered flag. And let's go to the only Alpine in the session. Will be not much, as I believe that should be the RB of Batman. He's going to go over the line and finally get a time up on the board. What about James? He might be a good contender for pole position as well. Can he get any closer, or an improvement on his time? Yes, he can improve, but not enough at all. One McLaren in P11 is going to come over the line first. The second one's going to be Raiders. He's going to go over the line and does find enough improvement. Stays P3, but rather pushes James down and into P3. What about Jagu then? He needs 9,000 of a second to go faster, and he does get pole position, improves almost nearly 3 tenths there, 2.96 tenths. Is going to see him take pole position unless and until somebody else from behind could pip it up. Reaper's going to go over the line, doesn't improve, doesn't find the time that he needs to go any better. Pretty much Prototype is now slowing down as well, so that means his lap and his qualifying session is done over the line, but I believe he's just going to go and take the checkered flag, and he indeed will. Every single of them is now into it, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the end of qualifying. Hope you all are enjoying the action so far, because that is some nice and easy. Somebody just has went into the back as RD, in a word of his own, he rear-ended a car, but obviously somebody had to get out of the way, which they didn't, which eventually has caused them a position or a lap that which could have been enough, which sometimes Drivers are doing some brilliant laps, but unfortunately, because mistakes of their own or the other drivers end up being the reason that it is not good at all. But what about this one here? It's going to be the end of qualifying. Jago takes pole, Harry in P2 with Raiders, James, RD completing out the top 5 despite getting out of the qualifying session and getting a final lap. He's in P5. Maisco masqueraded to Aston Martin at 6 and 7 with the Prototype in P8. Juno in P9 with Hart completing out the top 10. Just outside are Joel, Baldo, Ozuki, David, Reaper along with Batman, who both have got a 5-place grid penalty, so it's just interesting to see. And now all going to be interesting and all about it right now as the qualifying sessions has ended and we're going into the race. It's going to be 29 laps of racing around the Albert Park circuit, around the Australian Grand Prix. So we'll be hoping the drivers are going to be doing a brilliant job. And the most important thing, which everybody talks about with the drivers, eventually talk about, that do not ready up about right now. So we're hoping that everything's going to be fine. As obviously a lot of drivers, or for everybody, wants not to be ready, but somebody in the end ends up readying up, which I hope is not going to be happening tonight. And as soon as we're back, as soon as the drivers are out on track, if we see the cars out on track, we'll be back. Let us know, who do you think is going to be winning? Is it going to be Reaper? Is it going to be RD, who's in P5? Is it going to be Harry, who's in there along with James, Raid, or even Jagu, who's on pole position? Will he extend his championship lead, or anybody else from behind will come up and equal it on him? As we are now ready for the formation lap of this race, and we're out to go. Yeah, so is it going to be him? Is it going to be anybody in the top 5? Or is it going to be anybody from outside the top 5 who could possibly have a chance and challenge for the victory? Is it going to be Maisco? Is it going to be Masquerade, Prototype, Hart? Anybody from the top 10 or even from outside the top 10, which is pretty unlikely, but never say never. I mean, a lot of safety cars could happen. And talking about safety cars, I'd call up for 1 safety car a minimum in this race. We had a couple in China, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. That track doesn't even have closer walls, and how close the walls are around here, I think might be a chance. I think a chance of a safety car is a lot higher around here. I think 1 is a minimum. We might have 2 as well. I mean, you never know, but sometimes we do see drivers going good. But honestly, how eventually, honestly, it was at China, we maybe 2, like 1 is a minimum. We might just see 2 as well, just not sure, but we can, you know. So let's not waste any further time and get started for the Grand Prix here at Australia. 29 laps of racing are gonna be on, and we'll go. Fantastic racing out here. It's going to be interesting to see how is it between these drivers. Hopefully no heroics into turn 1. Jagu on pole, and it's going to be interesting to see whether drivers go on to a 2-stop or a 1-stop strategy. At the moment, only 4 drivers on a set of hard compound tires, everybody on a set of medium, so that means maybe an early get off the medium earlier on within a couple of laps and then go on to a set of hards, but that depends if they're looking for a 1-stop strategy here or a 2-stop strategy. So it depends from driver to driver, but of course, from especially on this year's game, it's been a lot of strategies and a lot of things about, you know, some tracks it's 1 stops, the other tracks it's 2 stops, or even on the same track. It could be both as we're ready up and ready to go racing here at the Australian Grand Prix. Jaguar on pole, Harry in P2 with Raid in P3. It's going to be 5 lights out and we go racing here at the Australian Grand Prix. It's a good start for Jaguar. It's a decent start for Harry as well as Raid has got a not a good start, or in fact he has, as James is going to be right behind him. Harry's pushed a little, Raid is pushed a little bit wide. James is going to be there side by side between the two. Wheel to wheel as Raid comes behind Raid. He could be got RD behind them out there, as on the inside line it's going to be through as Maisco sends it on the inside line as well. The aggressive driving of him that we saw at China is going to continue on here at the Australian Grand Prix. Masquerade's teammate right behind has lost out the position to him then, so it looks like a one-stop strategy, hard, medium, or medium hard. That could be the thing. Is round the outside. There's going to be an opportunity for Judo to get past Prototype, but will he get past? That's going to be interesting. They're both going to be side by side. This is going to be a place. It's going to be a place on the track where we will, especially on the DRS, a lot of overtakes will be done around here, so do keep that in mind. And that one lap is still going on as Maisco is going to try and get past the Ferrari of RD there. Outside is going to be, they're both going to be wheel to wheel. Is it going to be our game, or is it going to be Maisco who gets the better exit? And Maisco in the Aston Martin will be getting the better exit. Started P7 and already he's up to P5. And what a start. The first lap is off our way as Jagu and Harry are within 5/10 of each other. And exactly in the middle sector of the place, the second DRS zone. All right, interesting to see. For some reason, my headset disconnected for a second. Could not hear anything out there, so hopefully everything is going to be fixed and back to its place. So yeah, we're talking about the overtake, the second DRS zone, which is technically third, but basically the detection point for the first and the second one is the same, so it makes it the second DRS zone. And I think an opportunity for Harry to get past will be on at the way, but will he get past him though? I don't think he's going to be close enough this time around though, and yes indeed, he won't be close enough. The fight for the lead is going to be on, and the leaders could change the positions, but these guys can, and the podium, and the final position for the podium is going to be up for challenges as James loses out to Raid, as Raid's going to take that pay to Raid. Meanwhile, Harry and Jagu are at it between the two, and on at the back. Prototype, or in fact, what is going on there? Prototype and Masquerade, maybe either both of them are ghosted, so I wonder if any one of those drivers is not in the session or has lost out the connection to the session, because which sometimes could be the case as well. This game just makes you ghosted, obviously, if you're not in the session. Milo Maisco, who's made up his places up to P5, might have a chance to make it up to P4 as well. He's absolutely flying at the moment so far. RD is going to try and get past Maisco as well. I mean, he's right behind him. Milo Maisco is now... he's aimed, and could be an opportunity for him to get past, as the two Aston Martin teammates are both within the top 7 at the moment. The top 2 are, as it stands, 4/10 between the two still. We're going to look at this one though. Is there going to be an opportunity once more for Harry to get past him? I don't think so. Maybe very closer on the exit of 10, 11 and 12, but that's not going to be the case, at least for the moment, unless in the next DRS zone could be an opportunity. Meanwhile, at this one, Maisco hasn't been able to get past, so hasn't been able to get past Gamer. Along with these guys, nearly for a moment, one of the drivers there went on the grass, and that could have been his heart in mouth at the moment. Meanwhile, the two Williams teammates down in P15 and 14 are going to be fighting each other out here, as Joel within over 5 seconds out of these guys. We know these guys are going at it. This is interesting though. All the fight is happening out there as Gamer's going to get past him. James has lost out as well. Maisco moves forward. James is going to be there along with Masquerator. Both of them are going to be side by side between the two. Both of them will have the DRS, so the raving's going to be open. Is it going to be the Aston Martin? It indeed will be the Aston Martin, who sends it on the inside line, breaks later and gets past the Sauber teammate, Sauber driver, and will get past him. And now Prototype will get past his Sauber teammate. Meanwhile, James is now going to be in a bit of pressure from Juno now. He's going to get past him already. A lot is going on, and all is happening as Prototype has lost out position already and is losing out already. We saw earlier on Masquerator still staying there, but not as aggressive as his teammates in P6 still at the moment. Meanwhile, Prototype has lost out a couple of positions and outside the top 10 now. Moving forward, anybody within of an overtake? Harry's not getting past Jaguar at the moment, but sure, he's not close enough. He's not closing enough to get past at least around that part. And James is going to get, and he will get back up to P7. The penalties we were talking about, the drivers have already got. A lot of them have got it. Apart from Batman, second penalty. The front, meanwhile, Prototype is now going to be right behind Zuki at the moment, and he should be getting past Zuki very soon. Moving forward, so I was talking about the leaders, talking about the leaders, the top two at the moment in this race. I think sure Harry can get past him. I think he's not close, but at this point, being within DRS and continuously being within half a second, I believe he's still going to have the opportunity. He's going to have the speed to get past him. Either he's waiting for an opportunity or he's simply staying behind. He simply wants to stay behind in the DRS and really tiptoe till the second stint, till the ending laps of the race. Because the gap to the next car over 3.2 seconds. And I think at this point, unless Jaguar's got much speed and is going to pull away, but if he's within DRS of him, it's going to be interesting to see because 3.3 seconds between the two, and I think if both of them fight each other, unless Raid is rapidly cutting them, there's not going to be much he can do about it. And if these guys fight each other, they're rather going to lose out time. They're rather going to, invite others, all those behind, catch up to him right easily, or pretty easily. And also, if he overtakes him, back and forth will be happening. Unless he could pull away massively, the back and forth will not stop. So that would eventually mean a lot would happen. Definitely those tires, if they are especially going to try and do a one-stop strategy, it would compromise that. So, which will be interesting to see. And in fact, one of our drivers is already in pit lane. That's Waldo, who started on a set of hard compound tires, already into the pit lane. It's just interesting to see as he came into the pits to get a new set of tires, but then also a set of brand new front wing. So that would have been the reason he came into the pit lane, because he needed a new front wing at this point and time. Maisco in P4 at the moment. These guys are all together, all close up within each other so far. Lap 6 out of 29. So if all of these drivers are opting for a one-stop strategy, should be a minimum of 12 laps of this race. And the safety car we were talking about has happened already. We were talking about a minimum one safety car, and it all took 6 laps for it to happen, as the drivers would be happy that at least none of them is colliding within each other. But it has happened, and it has happened with the driver. I think that part is actually very tricky to get around the track, and he might have just went onto the grass or just a little bit wide, and coming back straight into the wall, straight into the barrier there. That would be a fair safety car, and I think it'll be interesting to see whether anybody pits or not, especially the leaders, and they are pitting. So a possible one-stop stop might just be a two-stop strategy now. And I think when one safety car has already came in within 6 laps, there might just be a second one. And if that's the case, I think these drivers would be finding it nice and easy. All those who pit about right now, it'll be interesting to see those who don't pit, or in fact everybody decides to pit about right now as it stands. Is coming into the pit lane along with Joel Hart, who has just pitted about right now, and that means he could actually stay out on track and continue on. But it'll be interesting to see whether how much or how many points he actually gains, positions he gains at the moment. Is he going to be able to just come out? Yes, he will be just about come out in P10. Sure, he's got his pit stop out of the way, but positions which might have worked for him in terms of the undercut wouldn't work about right now. And I think it'll be interesting to see. So from now, let's go 15 laps on these hard tires, or even 10 laps from now on. And let's see, lap 20, and another safety car comes in. A safety car window pops up for these drivers. So easy set of mediums on these cars to be on. So every single driver now in this race has made a pit stop and pitted once. So that would technically mean the one-stop strategy is out of the way, with the safety car coming in early on and within 6 laps. Unless somebody could push on too much, or rather take the care of these, at least those hard tires. Definitely those on the mediums would need to pit again, but those on the hards, if they decide to do a job. If they to do a brilliant job, but then also take it excellently, and drivers within each other will be catching up now behind the safety car as 7 laps in lap 8, possible lap 9 restart or lap 10 restart. I think lap 9 restart is most likely to happen. So Jagu leads ahead of Harry in P2, but Raid in P3. Maisco is in P4. He's done brilliantly after starting P7, I believe. But Gamer in P5, started P5, stays P5. James has lost out a couple of positions, which you know, in P7. Masquerator in P8. Prototype in P9. His road to recovery was on, and the safety car came in P9. We will die in P8, P10 with Joel, David, Reaper, Hart, and Batman completing out the top 15 to 15 car grid here around Australia, here at the Albert Park. Second with Zuki out of the Grand Prix. We've lost one driver out of the 15 and 15, out of the 16 and 15 are out. They're racing. And the race in and the race out once more. So interesting to see. It looks like safety car is going to be staying out unless the indication is going to come about just about right now, and I don't think so. Safety car might just be staying out as one more driver is yet to pick up, and Batman, who was over 20 or many seconds, or in fact the safety car is going to come into the pit lane, or which is interesting to say. It has came in very late now then at the end, as Jagu is going to have to prepare for it, and a lot of drivers collisions with each other, and they're all tiptoeing each other to the finish line, and he's absolutely slow going, Jagu, and he's going to try and go for it. He has went for it about now. Anybody who's got caught napping, James, Harry might have been caught napping on the inside line, rather. No, anybody else from behind or at the back to try and get popped. One of the drivers, so many drivers, the penalties on the car are being a die now in P10. And I think he was talking about a drive-through penalty. Meanwhile, Joel is going to be down the inside line of Valda. They're both going to be will to will. Just about gets a good and better exit. Will die and get the job done. Brilliantly done. Ooh, that is going to be off than it is. In P10 about right now. There's car at the front, and there is drivers at the front. They're doing side by side. Meanwhile, RD has got past Maisco finally, and is going to be up to P5. But will he, though? Because Maisco might get another opportunity to get past him about right now. He won't just get that. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, it's going to be interesting to see, or rather at the back, drivers are going to be side by side as well. A lot of drivers going will to will, and racing is on, the racing is happening, and the racing between the top two is going to be on now. Might just be between the top three here. And I think earlier on, Harry was staying within the DRC, and just keeping the second place for the moment, and would have thought I'm going to go for it later on for that race lead, but he can't do that right now because he'll risk losing the position to Raid, and that fight is on, and that position rate and the racing will be on. Out here at the moment already, because Raid, if Harry doesn't want it, Raid would not waste any time at all to get past Jagu and take that lead, or at least get past him for second place. Or any position he moves forward will be interesting. He took over 21 points of the sprint weekend in China. It was his first race here this season, as Hart is going to get past David. David's going to lose out to Hart, as Batman is in P13, which is interesting to see. I think it was him who was far away from the drivers and from the safety car. So look at this, as we're going to have a Reaper coming into the pit lane. He's running that Williams special livery, which was just added to the game recently, as we're going to go to the top of this leaders, as 3/10 between the two. Is Harry going to be able to get past him? Will Harry risk a move on the inside? No, he will not. rather stays out of it and rather stays just about back of the battle so far. Raid in P3, our gamer in P4 with Maisco in P5, who might just fancy a move on RD anytime soon. He gets the opportunity. James in P6, with Juno in P7, Mask Razor in P8, Prototype in P9 with Joel in P10. And that's going to be the top 10 of you, top 10 between these drivers. And once again, these guys are slightly pulling away. From Raid at the moment then as it stands. 9/10 between the two at the moment. 3/10 between these drivers. It's interesting to see. I mean, Raid is not going into these guys at the moment. Rather, I think his focus would more probably be rather try and defend from Gamer, try and defend from RD Gamer, who has been solid driving the past couple of weeks since he came in round 3, I believe. So it'll be interesting to see if these guys could pull away from Raid. I think again, the thinking's gonna be the same, or is it though? Because there might just be an opportunity for Harry to get past. And no, look at that! So many drivers, many drivers I know would have went for it on the inside line, and he just hasn't went for it. He just stays behind and possibly thinks about not going for it. There's already a spinner. Somebody has spun out. Meanwhile, Raid and oh, he's retired. Reaper has retired, and another driver is going to be out of the Grand Prix, but I don't think he's crashed though. He's just rather retired into the pit lane, so no yellow flags and no thing. And in fact, his car is coming out of the pit lane, so there might just be a yellow flag, but hopefully that's going to be a ghosted car, so that does not affect drivers driving out onto the track, and the car might be closer to them about at the moment. And everyone's pretty much within 1 second of each other, but it's just a DRS train, which is pretty much going on at the moment, and that's why we're simply not getting many overtakes at all, because look at this. Top 2, then Raid, Raid is just within DRS, RD is within DRS as well, Maisco within 4/10, James as well, so pretty much everyone within second of each other. It's just a DRS train that is going on at the moment. And once more time, Harry's going to be closer, and this time around he's going to be going for it. Switches to the outside line, around the outside. Harry will get past Jagu, and finally the move that was coming since the start of the race. And again, the restart of the safety car. He's went up for it though, but will he be able to keep the position for the couple of laps, for many laps from now on though, because now he's within 5/10, pulled up 5/10 already though. For how long that's going to be the case, which is going to be interesting to see. But now the move that was at least we were thinking might never happen has happened just about right now. I think that means he's just taking care a lot, which is a very good thing. Meanwhile, Maisco at the back will be ever closer to Gamer as well, but I don't think he's going to be close enough to be making a move. And finally an overtake, which we were looking for, has happened at the moment, as Mask Razor might be the next car to get Pro to hype about right now, as the DRS is going to be open on that Aston Martin. He's going to switch up to the outside line. He's going to push him the long way round, but it's not going to be enough. It's going to be through and up into P8, and the position's going to be picked up by Mask Razor. And the job is done, and he's going to be done and dusted for P8 so far. And by the looks of it, Mask Razor might just slightly be pulling away from Prototype at the moment, and the DRS train we were talking about might just start to get broken about right now, as the Raider has stayed switched once more, as Harry was led the Australian Grand Prix for 1 lap, and at the exact same point, Jagu has taken that position back, and it has been taken up from him. And I think now the back and forth I was talking about will be happening between these drivers, will be happening between the two drivers, between the top 2 in this race, as Well Day has gotten past Batman, who has been quietly in a race of his own. 4/10 between the two, still between the top 2 in this race. There might just be an opportunity for Harry to get past here. In fact, it's not going to be enough for him to get past, as Raid has pulled away, but I think these two are fighting. Might just be an opportunity for him to get closer, for him to gain time on these guys, and he's gaining and gaining and gaining. Does he go? No, he doesn't. Has to back out of it at the moment, as definitely, I think he's taking care, and well done to him, at least driving brilliantly so far. Not going for any too much aggressiveness driving, going for it on the merit, going for it exactly when he needs to be. And once more, we're going to be at that magic DRS zone, magic track, time. Magic track place. There are many overtakes happen. 2 have happened, and twice the race leader switched up. Will it switch up again? Just about no. As Jackie does brilliantly. First defending the inside line, then going up back to the racing line to defend it. And brilliantly done to keep up his place so far, as Raider has gained up between these drivers once more. And as I was saying, as the more they fight, the better it is for all those behind catching up. But not a lot of overtakes are eventually happening. And as we talked about, the DRS train, which is going to be struck. Obviously, new regulations for 2026, so it's going to be interesting. No F1 game for 26, but still going to be interesting to see whether anything happens, and it might just happen now here, as Harry's going to be going for it, and he nearly does absolutely well to back out of it once more. But another opportunity is going to be there for Harry. It's going to be inside line for Jagu. It's going to be the outside line for Harry, as Harry's going to be going for around the outside. He's going to be pushed a long way around, but he's going to get the inside line about right now. He's going to slightly push Jagu a little bit wide. He's going to go around the outside and get the move done. Brilliantly done, and that might allow Raid to get past Jagu now as well. It's going to be interesting to see, because 2 drivers with the DRS. Harry will not be the DRS. I think might right now. I'm all for him more than Jagu. Harry might be in a bit of trouble, because Harry might lose position to both these drivers. Or in fact, no, they're going to be side by side. The trouble for Jagu is going to be double. He's going to be in the challenge, and he's going to overtake Harry. And it's exactly the same thing I was talking about, that Harry might be in a bit of pressure, and he might just lose 2 positions. And indeed that has happened. He's went up from P1 to P4, and he might just go from P1 to P4. In fact, he rather went from P1 to P3, but going up to P4 be a chance as well. I think it's going to be interesting to see, but the racing is on. The drivers are on. Surely, I believe there are probably many of them might just once more so stay, the grid will stabilize, but up until then, enjoy this action, because this action is going to be on, and this will be your final weekend before we are off for a weekend back after the break up in January. So this is your last race of the month. Enjoy it as much as you can. For all of you watching, and all those of you out on track as well, so that's going to be interesting all about right now. Raiders is in P2, and Harry has lost out that position, and once more the opposite same is going to be happening to Jagu, pretty much, as these 2 are closer might be. Meanwhile, finally a move has happened, and that move has been between James and Maisco, as James has got past Maisco, but will Maisco challenge him once more and to take that place back again from him? And no, he'll not be able to do that about right now. They are very close. They are absolutely closer to each other, but they will not that will not be happening at all. Meanwhile, Juno is right behind Masquerator now, and the Aston Martin driver might be in a bit of trouble from the Red Bull. The only sole Red Bull in this session. He's going to send it on the inside line, but nearly just backs out of it in time, and does brilliantly well to keep out of it and to keep any trouble out of it at all. Lap 70 out of 29. Gentlemen, 10 laps on these hard compound tires, couple of more laps on these hards, and I think and then there's going to be a chance, there's going to be time everybody pits in. I think a possible 5 more laps on these tires, and then a set of medium tire for them going to be on, unless they push too much, unless they could do over 20 laps on these hard tires, which is going to be interesting to see, which I don't think everybody will be doing. It's going to be possible. It's not going to be impossible, but definitely it's going to be a driver who will have to make the impossible possible, I think, at this point. Maybe it's not even that complicated, but I just don't think that every single one of these drivers, or even half the drivers on those hard tires, would be able to take it to the end of the race, which obviously they pitted earlier on. They've done over 10 laps on these tires. Will be 11 laps at the end of this lap. So a 1-stop strategy, turning 2 stops out of the safety car, but brilliantly done. I have to admit that the racing action has been excellent. The action has been brilliant so far today. Maybe not a lot of overtakes, but I think that's the reason. Everybody's being more careful. Everybody's taking care of it. And that is the reason that not a lot of overtakes are happening. And the pit stop I was talking about has already happened, and Harry has been the one who's pulled the trigger on a set of a medium compound tire earlier on. But definitely, I think he's attempted He's got the undercut. He's attempted the undercut here all on these guys. He went to a set of medium tires. Sure, he'll have the tire deficit at the end. The others will have a tire deficit, but the position will be his if all those who pit are about now or a couple of laps later, and Harry's be able to push more, pull more, push more, and do a better job about right now, because he was simply stuck there. And the DRS train we're talking about, everybody just stuck in there. Pretty much almost all the drivers within 1 second of each other, but nobody's able to get past one or the other. As I was talking about, this is going to be the place a lot of overtakes happen. Surely all the overtakes we pretty much have seen have happened around here indeed, but the DRS train, the train has just been the reason, which has made it very difficult, as other drivers are now going to be in as well. James has went on to set another medium tire, along with Waldai, who's went to set another mediums as well. And it'll be interesting to see whether our race later comes in or he stays out a little bit longer, because definitely it's going to be interesting to see. And in fact, no, he does not stay out. He comes in about now. And now it's going to be interesting to see, and very interesting to see, where does Harry end up when all of these drivers pit. And he's fighting with Joel, who will get out of the way, but it might compromise Harry. But in fact, he's going to not wait at all. He's going to send it on the inside line and get the move done. But where does he come out, though? Where does everybody else come out, though? Because this is going to be interesting, and Jagu might just overcut Raid along with Harry there, because around the outside, he nearly there. Contact just makes out of it, and Harry is in P2, and his undercut has worked out on Raid there. It would have nearly done on Jagu as well, but not enough. He's going to try and get it on the inside lane. He's going to send it there, will Raid. So yeah, basically, it probably would have worked out on Jagu as well, but he got stuck. He got stuck behind the Alpine driver, who's still staying there, who fought with him for as much as he could. And it's on. The top three are yet to pit. And this is going to be interesting, as James and RD are within each other, as James and RD are going to be closer to each other, as Raid is going to be now on. He gets past Harry, and in fact, Raid does get past Harry. In fact, he's even on a set of hard compound tires, so he's warmed up those tires, got up to temperature, and made an overtake is a thing in its own, as he's got it done about here, as we're looking at it on. I think we're going into the final laps of the Grand Prix, and it's all on here, and it's all in here between these drivers as we're watching the fight about right now. Lap 20 out of 29. The final 10 laps of the Grand Prix will officially start about right now. Many drivers are now going to be into the pit lane. Lap 20 out of 29 right now. It is James in P2 along with Jagu in P3, so somebody from the top has pitted, as RD and James are still staying out, so they're going longer. They're going long on those set of hard compound tires. So either here, they're going to pit in, right now, and eventually end up losing about now, where in fact these two are going to be fighting each other despite being a pit stop behind all those guys. It's going to make an overtake, and it is going to be done, as a lot is happening here. As interesting to see right now. Still, what I was talking about is they're going to stay long. Either they're going to try and give themselves not only enough overcut, but a chance to go onto a set of soft compound tires. They still stay out another lap, so over 15 laps will be done, even if they pit at the end of next lap right now. So, yeah, so what I was talking about is, one thing it's going to be, they're going to get the tire deficit against everybody else. They're going to get brand new tires. So either they could go onto a set of soft tires, push at the start, and possibly gain as much position as they can, or go onto a set of medium tires, which would allow them to not only push, but possibly go on to the end of the race in similar conditions, because soft tire would run out of grip within a few laps if you push slightly a little bit harder. And the medium tire, it's the flexibility that they have. It's the flexibility. They could go as much as they want. They could push as much as they eventually want. So definitely, I think it's going to be interesting to watch out what exactly happens at the end of this race. I hope you all watching are really enjoying this action, because sure, maybe not a lot of overtakes happen, but I think a lot of DRS train pretty much formed up, and I think that probably would be the reason many people are excited to get rid of the DRS going out next year, but it'll be interesting to see whether the new regulations are as effective or not as much as being talked about, because the 2022 regulations were talked about too much as well, but they didn't do much that they were supposed to, the ground effect regulations. So Prototype currently within 1 second, 5/10 of the drivers in front, along with Masquerator within 3/10 as well, so that's going to be interesting. Juno, meanwhile, the top two have got past one or the other, as RD is going to take the lead of the Grand Prix and is going to pay your new Australian Grand Prix leader once more, and both of them are still staying out. So I think if they have to pit, they'll have to come at the end of this lap. Otherwise, we might just see a one-stop. We might just see a masterclass from these top two drivers who would try and attempt to go to the end of the Grand Prix. Because now the gap to Jagu and Jagu is 5.8 seconds. He's gaining rapidly on these guys, but if they could, you know, push as much as they can, just try and do as much as they can, as there's going to be an opportunity for James to get past, and he will get past. And this is what I was talking about. If there is no DRS train, this is what exactly would happen here at that part of the track, as James will take the lead once more. James has got a penalty as well, so let's not forget that. Meanwhile, looking at penalties, so James, Harry, Prototype, along with Joel, have all got a 3-second time penalty. Then Hart has got 6 seconds, 9 seconds to Will Die, and 12 seconds to Batman, who's down in P14 in a race of his own. The top two are still staying out, and with that, I would certainly believe they're going to go to the end of the Grand Prix, because they're not only going to try and surely get themselves an opportunity to go outside of soft tyres, but they rather want, I'd say, you know, they also want to, you know, get enough laps. They want to be on the new tyres later on, but the deficit would only work if they have got enough laps to fight back, which I think they're going to forget about right now, and they're going to go to the end of the Grand Prix. They're going to try and go to the end of this race and do all they can be doing, or they will be indeed doing at this point so far. But I think one thing would be compromising both of them, and that would be fighting each other off. And if they have to defend a little too much, Jagu is not far behind. It's 3.95 seconds behind. I think for them, they want, as RD's going to get past James once more, back into the lead of the race. I think they would want Raid to challenge Jagu, because the more Raid challenges Jagu, the better it is for the top two at the front, and the later they would arrive for the lead. But otherwise, it's going to be interesting, and if Jagu and Raid do not fight each other, they just continue on and keep up, catching up with the drivers in front, will be, because definitely right now these two lose more by pitting rather than staying out, and they definitely are at it. They're all on it, try and make the magic one-stop work. You know, one of the cars, and that's going to be the RB of Batman. Oh, that's going to be James who's going to make a mistake, and James is going to make a huge mistake, and I wonder if he's went into the back of Batman as well. He might just have, because Batman's car was in the middle of the track, and he's went into the back of him, James, and all that hard work that he was doing to make the one-stop work and to stay within DRS, within RD for the lead of the race, he's going to lose out, and I'm sure he's going to be flipping under the helmet in that car, and definitely not only for him personally, but all those points which could have been very crucial for the in the Constructors' Championship for Sauber team are going to be all going up to Wayne. And I don't think now, I think he's going to try and do stay within the top 5, but that will be very crucial about now. So Raid and Jago are going to be fighting, and I think RD at least is going to be feeling one better, that at least he's got no more driver to be fighting out, and James is going to lose that out, because I think his front wing is not in a good condition. His front wing is not really in the condition to fighting at all. So that is now going to be interesting, and eventually I'm sure James will not be happy about that, and he definitely will be coming into the pit lane. He has to come into the pit lane, unfortunately, but despite not even wanting to. His front wing was not in a good position at all, and now I wonder if he comes out of the pit lane, or does he retire out of the race here. I think he might just come out back on track, maybe just try and finish where he can. Oh, in fact, he might just be able to fight for the 10th place position. He will, in fact, be able to fight for the 10th place position. Joel is going to get past him. Joel will be past him, but Joel might have more. No, in fact, Joel doesn't have a penalty. But now on brand new tyres, James might just have an opportunity. James might just have a chance to get past him, as now the top 2 and 3 are right going to be at the back of our race leader, as RD, who would have tried the alternate strategy to stay out and do as many laps on those hard tires as he can, and he's going to be in trouble already, as Jagu's going to go for it on the inside line, and he's going to get the move done, and 1 out of 2, as now Raid is going to get past him as well. The overtake's going to be done. RD's going to lose out at all, as Harry's now 1.7 seconds behind these guys. Who's got a penalty, so possible P3 finish is going to be on the way for RD at this point. I think making the one-stop work has to be absolutely brilliant. It's going to be more than 20 laps of the Grand Prix come the end of this race. We're on lap 26 out of 29, so still a lot is going on. And now I think Raid and Jagu are going to be fighting for the race lead. Are going to be fighting for the race victory here potentially, because it could be anybody's game. It could be anyone's game here towards the end of the Grand Prix, towards the end of this race, which doesn't have much laps remaining. Sure, action's going to be on, but laps are not. So look at this then. I think James now is going to be closer to Joel in that Sauber. They've already passed him now. They've already got past one driver then, so that's interesting to see, which might have been one of the cars getting out of the way or making a mistake at the back of them, because both of them were in P10 and 11. As now, as long as James does get past Joel on track, he will just be getting that P9. It's going to be interesting to see. Meanwhile, Raid is going to be closer to Jagu, and it'll be nice to see whether also a thing to notice, whether does Raid get past him, does Raid overtake him, or does Raid just stay behind him and stay where he is and wait for the second last or last lap to make the mega overtake, to make the all-important overtake, which could potentially win him the race. Meanwhile, Harry will now get past RD as well, and definitely he might just have to settle for a less of a position, and he's now going to get a penalty. He will now get a penalty, will be RD, and that is going to be not a good one. Look at that, how much careful he's being on that tire, those tires, and that definitely means there is not much grip for him at all. That definitely means already we could see how much care he's taking at all. He's definitely not pushing as much as he'd like to be, and I think right now he'd rather want to just try and stay with over 3 seconds ahead of Maisco, which he might or might not be able to do towards the end of this race. Lap 27 out of 29, which is going to be 28 into the next lap of the Grand Prix, and another retirement out of this race, and that will be a Williams of David. One Williams already out, and the other one is going to get out as well. 4 tenths between the two. 4 tenths between Jagu and Raid. Will Jagu keep this lead heading towards turn 1, or is it going to be Raid going into on the inside line to make that? He will not be doing that so far. So 16 started, only 13 now remain at this point in time so far in this race. As lap 29, second last lap of the Grand Prix, so pretty much it's going to be all where it stays. Pretty much Jagu leads ahead of Raid in P2, with Harry in P3. He's going to jump up back to the podium places with RD in P4, followed by Maisco in P5. The positions definitely will switch, at least in the top with the penalties and stuff. Prototype in P7 with Masquerator in P8, followed by James in P2. As meanwhile, at the top of the timings, there could be a chance for the switch of the lead, or in fact, no, it's not going to be the case here. We're talking about James Masquerator in P8, James in P9, after an unfortunate incident that happened with him. Joel in P10, with Hart will die, and Batman in P13. So the battle currently is on, and it is on between the top two in this race, between the two leaders. About now, all these laps he has waited, all these laps Raid has waited. Will he be going for a move? Will he be will he be able to get that move done that he needs to get it done? That is going to be interesting to eventually see, as we're all going to be at it. It is going to be this move, remember, means a race win, means a race, not only the race lead, but a potential race victory here, because we're on the final lap of this race. Lap 29 out of 29. They've all worked through. They've all fought for this brilliant race. And also, let's not forget, I have to say, after a chaos and filled race in China, this was rather an improved one, and this is going to be the opportunity for Drades to get it, and he will get it, as Drades is going to take the lead of the Australian Grand Prix on the final lap of this race, and definitely Jagu will not back out at all. He will get the DRS, he will get the rearing open. In fact, no, he will not do that, as the DRS is going to be on that McLaren, as Maisco now will get past the Gamer as well. The Gamer might just have to settle in for P5 at this point, as Raid on a set of 10-lap hards versus a driver who's on 10-lap old mediums. In the end, he will get the tire deficit of get the hard tires get better, unless Jagu could go towards the end closer to Raid, and he will not be doing that. And over the finish line, Raid is going to win the Australian Grand Prix for McLaren. Jagu will have to settle for second from pole position. Harry in the end will tackle in P2, P4, P3, with Maisco taking that over the finish line in P4 for Harry, P5 for RD, Juno in P6 for the slow Red Bull in the session with Prototype in P7, Masquerator in P8, many drivers with penalties towards the end. James in P9, and Joel should be completing out the top 10 in this race so far. A lot of penalties though, so anybody with less penalties than him could take that position, could take that final spot in the point scoring positions. Joel into P10, Hart in about P11 up right now, within 10 seconds of Joel, but no, that's not going to be enough, as Will die. The other McLaren will come in and up to the finish line, and in P12 that's going to be the case, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the end of this Grand Prix. It's going to be the end of this Australian Grand Prix. Hope you all watching enjoyed it, and it was our race winner Raid, who just came in at the previous round in China. It's going to be standing at the top of the podium, at the top in this race here in Australia. Brilliantly done from him, and hope you all watching really enjoyed this action, because we're going to be not going to be coming back next week. I believe we'll be now all coming back in the next round in January, on 4th of January. So up until then, it's going to be break, and we're going to be out to chill out for all of you, have fun, and come back stronger. So Raid wins up ahead of Jagu in P2, who then didn't get the fastest lap, but that doesn't matter at all, with Maisco in P3, Harry in P4, RD in P5 in the end. Brilliantly done. Let's not forget, he done all those laps on a set of hard tyres, with Juno in P6, followed by Prototype in P7, Masquerator in P8. James in P9, Joel completing out the top 10. Outside were Hart, Will Die, Batman, and David. Then Batman, then David, Reaper, Zuki, all out of this race and could not finish it at all. So that's going to be the end, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you all are watching the action so far. We're 5 rounds in. We're going to head up to round 6 next time around. The next race after on a Sunday, which will be arriving very soon. Not next time though, but the one after in January. After the New Year's, we will be back to racing once more, and that'll be at Silverstone, the Great Britain, which is going to be a brilliant race as well. So hope you all watching had fun and enjoyed it. This is going to be the end of it, and from all of us here at Digital Racing Championship,